5 terrifying true hotel room horror stories that will make you check under every bed. Hotels. They promise safety. A locked door between you and the world. Clean sheets. A bed that isn't yours but feels like sanctuary. For travelers, they're temporary homes. For the lonely, they're escapes. For the weary, they're rest. We trust hotels implicitly. We hand strangers our credit cards, accept keys to rooms we've never seen, and sleep in beds where countless others have laid their heads. We trust the locks, the security cameras, the front desk staff who smile and promise, if you need anything, just call. But what happens when that promise is broken? What happens when the room you've checked into holds secrets the hotel doesn't want you to know? When the previous guest never truly left? When the mirror on the wall shows more than your reflection? When the door that's supposed to keep you safe won't stay locked? Hotels are built on the illusion of anonymity. No one knows you're there. No one knows what room you're in. No one knows what happens behind that closed door. And sometimes, that anonymity protects something far darker than guests seeking privacy. These are not stories of bad service or unclean rooms. These are accounts of travelers who checked into hotels and discovered that some rooms don't let you leave. Some mirrors don't show the present. And some doors were never meant to be opened. Tonight we bring you 3 true hotel room horror stories. Stories from business travelers, solo vacationers, and couples seeking a quiet weekend away. People who thought a locked door meant safety. People who learned too late that hotels remember their guests. All of them. Even the ones who never checked out. If you've ever stayed in a hotel and felt watched, felt like you weren't alone, felt like the room itself was aware of you, these stories will explain why. So turn down the lights. Lock your door. And whatever you do, don't look in the mirror too long. Because some hotel rooms don't just keep secrets. They keep guests. Let's check in. Story 1. Room 237, the guest who never checked out. It started with a suitcase that wasn't mine. I travel for work, pharmaceutical sales, nothing glamorous. 2, sometimes 3 nights a week in budget hotels across the country. I've stayed in hundreds of rooms. Seen it all. Stained carpets. Broken air conditioning. The occasional bedbug scare. You develop a routine. Check the sheets. Test the locks. Unpack only what you need. Don't get comfortable. You're never staying long enough to call it home. So when I checked into the Gateway in just outside Manchester on a rainy Tuesday evening, I wasn't expecting anything different. The receptionist barely looked up as she slid the keycard across the counter. Room 237. 3rd floor. Breakfast starts at 7. The hallway smelled of industrial cleaner and something musty underneath. The carpet was worn thin down the center where decades of guests had walked the same path. Room 237 was at the far end, tucked into a corner. The kind of room they give you when the hotel's half empty and they don't care where you sleep. I unlocked the door, stepped inside, flicked on the lights, and that's when I saw it. A black roller suitcase, sitting upright beside the bed. Not mine. Definitely not mine. Mine was still in my hand. I assumed housekeeping had missed it, left it behind from the previous guest. Annoying but not unusual. I called the front desk. "There's a suitcase in my room," I said. "Someone's luggage. They must have forgotten it." The receptionist sounded confused. "Room 237? Yes." Pause. The sound of typing. "Sir, that room's been vacant for 3 days. There shouldn't be anything in there." "Well, there is. A black suitcase. Right beside the bed. I'll send someone up to collect it." I hung up. Stared at the suitcase. It looked expensive. Hardshell. The kind frequent travelers use. No tags. No stickers. Just black, glossy, pristine. I should have left it alone. Should have waited in the hallway for housekeeping. But curiosity, that stupid human impulse, made me reach for the zipper. It was locked. 20 minutes later, a housekeeper knocked. Young woman, Eastern European accent, tired eyes. She looked at the suitcase, then at me, then back at the suitcase. "Where you find this?" she asked. "It was here when I checked in. Right there. Beside the bed." She didn't move to pick it up, just stared at it like it was something dangerous. "I cleaned this room this morning. Nothing here. Nothing." "Well, it's here now." She backed toward the door. "I get manager." The manager never came. An hour passed. Then 2. I called the front desk again. Different person answered. When I explained the situation, they sounded irritated. "Sir, I'm showing in our system that room 237 has been thoroughly cleaned and inspected. If you'd like to change rooms." "I don't want to change rooms. I want someone to remove this suitcase that doesn't belong to me. I'll make a note for the morning shift." They hung up. I stared at the suitcase. It sat there, silent, waiting. I should have demanded a different room. Should have left the hotel entirely. But I was exhausted. And it was just a suitcase. Someone's forgotten luggage. Nothing sinister. Nothing strange. I pushed it into the corner. Out of sight. Unpacked my own things. Took a shower. Tried to forget about it. But as I lay in bed that night, staring at the ceiling, I kept thinking about what the housekeeper had said. I cleaned this room this morning. Nothing here. So where did the suitcase come from? And why couldn't I shake the feeling that someone was standing in the corner, watching me sleep? I woke at 3:47 a.m. to the sound of a zipper. Slow. Deliberate. The metallic teeth separating one by one in the darkness. I shot upright, heart pounding, and fumbled for the lamp. Light flooded the room. The suitcase was exactly where I'd left it. In the corner. Closed. Untouched. But I'd heard it. I was certain. The sound of a zipper opening, long and drawn out, like someone was being very careful not to make noise. I stared at it for 5 minutes. Waiting. Listening. Nothing. Just my imagination. Just the strange sounds old buildings make. Pipes. Settling foundations. My mind playing tricks in an unfamiliar room. I turned off the light. Lay back down. Closed my eyes. The zipper sound came again. This time I didn't turn on the light. I grabbed my phone, turned on the torch, and aimed it at the corner. The suitcase was open. Not all the way. Just a crack. Maybe an inch. As if someone had started to unzip it and stopped. I hadn't touched it. Hadn't gone near it since I'd shoved it in the corner 6 hours ago. My hands shook as I got out of bed. Every instinct screamed at me to leave. To grab my things and run. But I needed to know. Needed to see what was inside. Needed proof that this was just luggage. Just forgotten belongings. Nothing more. I crouched beside it. Reached for the zipper. Pulled it open the rest of the way. Inside were clothes. Men's clothes. Neatly folded. Shirts. Trousers. Socks. A toiletry bag. Everything you'd pack for a business trip. Normal. Ordinary. Boring. Except for the smell. It hit me like a physical force. Decay. Rot. The smell of something dead left too long in a closed space. I gagged, stumbled back, knocked over the desk chair. The clothes looked fresh. Clean. But the smell? I zipped it shut. Shoved it back into the corner. Threw open the window despite the cold. Gulped fresh air. Tried not to vomit. When I finally calmed down, I called the front desk again. Third time. A man answered this time, annoyed at being woken. "There's something wrong with the suitcase in my room," I said. "What suitcase?" "The one I've been calling about all night. Room 237. Someone needs to remove it." "Sir, I'm looking at the notes. There's no record of any suitcase. Are you sure you're in the right room?" "I'm in 237. The suitcase is right here. It smells like something died in it." Silence. Then, "I'll send security up." Security never came. I sat on the bed, watching the corner until the sun came up. The suitcase sat there. Closed. Silent. But I swore I could hear breathing. Slow. What? Coming from inside. When I finally worked up the courage to approach it again at dawn, I noticed something I'd missed in the dark. A luggage tag. Small. Tucked into a side pocket. I pulled it out with trembling fingers. Read the name written in neat handwriting. David Marsh. Room 237. The checkout date, October 23, 2019. 5 years ago. I grabbed my phone. Googled the name. David Marsh, Manchester missing. The first result made my blood run cold. Sales executive David Marsh, 42, reported missing after failing to return home from business trip. Last seen checking into Gateway Inn October 23, 2019. Police appeal for information. There was a photo. Middle-aged man. Receding hairline. Kind eyes. Wearing the same blue shirt that was folded in the suitcase. He'd stayed in this room. Room 237. And he'd never checked out. I looked at the suitcase. At the clothes that smelled of death. At the bag that had appeared in my room despite the hotel's insistence that it had been empty. And I realized David Marsh was still here. He'd never left room 237. The bathroom door creaked open behind me. I spun around. The shower was running. Steam billowing out. I hadn't turned it on. Through the fog I saw a shadow. A figure. Standing under the water. Not moving. Just standing. I ran for the door. Grabbed the handle. It wouldn't turn. Locked from the outside. Impossible. You can't lock a hotel door from the hallway without a keycard. The shower turned off. Footsteps on tile. Wet. Slow. approaching the bathroom door. I pounded on the room door, screamed for help, threw my shoulder against it. Nothing. The bathroom door opened wider. A man stepped out, soaking wet, wearing a blue shirt plastered to his skin. David Marsh. Exactly as he'd looked in the photo, except his eyes were wrong. Empty. Hollow. Like he was looking at me from somewhere very far away. He smiled. A sad, apologetic smile. And he spoke. His voice waterlogged. Distant. "I'm sorry," he said. "I tried to check out. I really did. But the room, it won't let me leave. And now I'm so lonely. I've been alone for 5 years. 5 years in this room. Waiting. Hoping someone would stay. Someone would understand." He took a step closer. Water dripped from his clothes, pooling on the carpet. "You found my suitcase," he continued. "You opened it. You read my name. That means you're connected now. To this room. To me. The room does that. Binds you. Keeps you. Just like it kept me." "I don't understand," I choked out. "What do you want?" His smile faded. "I want to leave. But I can't. Not unless someone takes my place." The room door unlocked behind me. Clicked open. Freedom. Escape. Right there. But David stood between me and my suitcase. My wallet. My phone. Everything I'd need to actually leave. "Take your things," he whispered. "Leave your suitcase. Check out. Forget you were ever here. And I'll finally be free. Finally rest. You'll be fine. You'll leave. You'll be safe." "And if I don't leave my suitcase?" His eyes darkened. The bathroom light flickered behind him. In the mirror I saw other figures. Shadows. Dozens of them. All standing. All waiting. All guests who'd stayed in room 237. All trapped. All desperate. "Then you'll understand," David said. "You'll understand what it means to never check out." I had seconds to decide. Run, leave everything behind, escape with just my life. Or grab my belongings and risk whatever David Marsh had become in 5 years of being trapped in room 237. I chose wrong. I lunged for my suitcase, grabbed it, tried to push past David toward the open door. His hand shot out, cold, wet, impossibly strong, and gripped my wrist. The touch burned with cold. Ice crystals formed on my skin where his fingers made contact. "Wrong choice," he whispered, and there was genuine sadness in his voice. "I'm so sorry. I really am. But the room, it's hungry. And it's been so long since it's had someone new." The door slammed shut. Locked again. The lights flickered and died. Darkness swallowed the room except for the faint glow from the bathroom where David had emerged. In that dim light I saw them clearly now. The others. The shadows in the mirror weren't just reflections. They were people. Yes, dozens of them. Men. Women. Different ages. Different eras of clothing. All with that same hollow, distant look in their eyes. All trapped in room 237. David released my wrist. I stumbled back, clutching my frozen arm. He moved to the window, stared out at the car park below, at the normal world continuing without him. "The first night I thought it was just bad luck," he said quietly. "My keycard stopped working. The front desk sent someone up to let me out. But every time they opened the door, it would lock again before I could leave. They thought I was mad. Playing some prank. Eventually they stopped coming. And I couldn't leave. Physically couldn't cross the threshold. Like an invisible wall." He turned to face me. "I tried the window. It won't open. I tried calling for help. My phone died. My laptop died. Everything electronic just stopped working. I existed in this room and the room existed for me, feeding on me. My fear. My desperation. My slow descent into understanding that I would die here." "But you did die here," I said, my voice shaking. "The news article. You're missing. Presumed dead." "Am I dead?" David looked at his hands. "I don't know anymore. I remember dying. I think. Remember lying on that bed, starving, dehydrated, calling for help that never came. Remember closing my eyes and hoping it would be over. But then, I woke up, and I was still here. Still in room 237. Still trapped. But different. Less solid. More like the room itself. Part of it. Bound to it." The other shadows moved closer. I could see their mouths moving. Whispering. Begging. But no sound came out. Only David could speak. Only David was strong enough to manifest fully. "They've been here longer," David explained, noticing my gaze. 10 years. 20. Some even longer. The room has been doing this for decades. Taking guests. Keeping them. feeding on their terror until they become what I am, what they are. Ghosts, echoes, prisoners. Why? I demanded. Why does it do this? What is this room? David laughed, a hollow, broken sound. I don't know. I've had 5 years to think about it. Maybe something terrible happened here once. Maybe someone died and cursed this place. Maybe the hotel was built on bad ground. Or maybe some spaces just become evil. Maybe room 237 learned it could trap people and it got hungry for more. And no one stops it because... He gestured to the shadows. Because we disappear. Missing persons. Unsolved cases. The hotel tears down the room, rebuilds it, changes the number. But the room persists. Always room 237. Always hungry. My phone buzzed. I grabbed it, nearly dead battery, 3%. One notification. An email. From the hotel. Dear guest, thank you for choosing Gateway Inn. We hope you enjoyed your stay in room 237. We look forward to welcoming you again soon. I haven't checked out, I said. I'm still here. Why would they? David's expression changed. Became urgent. Afraid. What time is it? I checked. 6:47 a.m. Checkout time is 11 a.m. The room, it has to consume you before checkout. Before you're supposed to leave. If you can survive until 11 a.m. and cross the threshold, you might break free. But it won't let you. It'll do everything to keep you here. To break you. To make you give up before. The floor dropped out beneath me. Not literally. But the carpet dissolved into darkness. An abyss opened up and I was falling into room 237 itself. Into the heart of whatever this place was. I saw them all. Every guest who'd ever been trapped. Hundreds of them. Stretching back to the 1960s. All screaming. All reaching for me. All desperate to pull me down with them, to have company in their eternal imprisonment. I hit the floor hard. Gasping. The room was back. Normal. But wrong. The furniture had changed. Older. The TV was from the 1980s. The wallpaper was different. Floral. Dated. David was gone. But a woman stood where he'd been. Older. Wearing a floral dress. She looked at me with those same hollow eyes. 1987, she said. That's when I checked in. I thought it was just a room. Just a place to sleep for the night. But the room had other plans. The room shifted again. Changed. Now the furniture was from the 1970s. A man in bell-bottoms and a wide-collared shirt stood by the window. 1974. I've been here longer than you've been alive. Longer than I was alive. The room doesn't care about time. It exists outside of it. Past, present, future. All the same. All trapped. The room kept shifting. Faster now. Different decades. Different guests. All telling me the same thing. You can't leave. You can't escape. You're ours now. I crawled toward the door. It kept moving. Farther away. The room was expanding. Growing. Becoming a labyrinth of itself. Infinite room 237S stretching in all directions. My phone died. 1% to 0% in an instant. The last thing on the screen before it went black. 7:23 a.m. 3 hours and 37 minutes until checkout. 3 hours and 37 minutes to escape, or become another shadow on the wall. I don't remember all of it. The next 3 hours are fractured. Broken. Like my mind couldn't process what was happening and started shutting down to protect itself. I remember running through endless iterations of room 237. Each one slightly different. Each one wrong. I remember the other guests, the trapped ones, trying to help me and trying to keep me at the same time. Torn between wanting freedom and wanting company in their eternal prison. I remember David appearing again. Fighting with the others. Shouting at them to let me go. He's not like us yet. He still has time. I remember finding the door. The real door. And seeing light beneath it. Real light. Daylight. The hallway. Escape. But every time I reached for the handle, the room pulled me back. Until I understood. The suitcase. My suitcase. I was still holding it. Still clutching my belongings. Still trying to take something from room 237. David had told me. Leave your suitcase. Check out. Forget you were ever here. I dropped it. Let go of everything I'd brought. My clothes. My laptop. My work materials. Everything. And the door opened. The room screamed. I swear it did. A sound like tearing metal and breaking glass and 1,000 voices crying out at once. I ran. Didn't look back. Burst into the hallway. The normal, boring, beautifully mundane hotel hallway with its ugly carpet and flickering lights. Behind me, room 237's door slammed shut. I collapsed against the wall, gasping, sobbing, alive. A housekeeper walked past, the same one from the night before. She glanced at me, frowned, and kept walking like she saw traumatized guests every day. Maybe in this hotel she did. I made it to the lobby. My watch read 10:58 a.m. 2 minutes before checkout. I'd survived. Barely. The receptionist looked up as I approached. Different person from last night. Smiled that professional hotel smile. Checking out of room 237? Yes. No. Immediately. Of course. I'll just need your keycard and, did you enjoy your stay? I stared at her. Did I enjoy my... No. No, I didn't enjoy my stay. That room is... There's something wrong with that room. You need to... I'm sorry to hear that, sir. I'll make a note in your file. Would you like to leave feedback? Feedback? I was nearly killed. I was trapped. There are people, ghosts, dozens of them. She wasn't listening. Just typing. Smiling. Processing my checkout like I was complaining about the water pressure or the firmness of the mattress. You're all set, Mr. Morrison. We've charged the card on file. Would you like a receipt? I left without answering. Walked out of that hotel and didn't stop until I was in my car, doors locked, engine running. I drove for an hour before I felt safe enough to pull over. To breathe. To process. David Marsh is still in room 237. So are all the others. Trapped. Waiting. Hoping the next guest will somehow set them free. But they won't be freed. Because the room doesn't let go. The room keeps what it takes. I reported it. Of course I did. Called the police. Told them about David Marsh. Told them to search room 237. They investigated. Found nothing. The hotel insisted room 237 had been renovated 3 years ago. Said no guest named David Marsh had ever stayed there. Showed them records proving the room had been occupied by dozens of satisfied customers since 2019. The police thought I'd had a breakdown. Recommended I seek help. Closed the case. But I know what I saw. I know what happened. And I know that hotel is still operating. Still taking bookings. Still assigning guests to room 237. I looked it up last week. Checked their website. You can book it right now. Room 237. Available. Budget friendly. Perfect for business travelers. The reviews are all positive. 5 stars. Clean room. Comfortable bed. Great value. No one mentions the suitcase. No one mentions the shadows. No one mentions checking in and never checking out. Because the ones who could write those reviews never made it to 11 a.m. I still travel for work. Still stay in budget hotels. But now when I check in I ask questions. What room am I in? Can I see a different room? Has anyone ever had problems with that room? And sometimes, not often but sometimes, the receptionist will pause. Will look at me with something like understanding. And will quietly say, let me upgrade you. Complimentary. Those are the ones who know. The ones who've heard the stories. The ones who've learned that some rooms in some hotels aren't just rooms. They're traps. If you're ever assigned room 237 in any hotel, anywhere, don't accept it. Don't open that door. Don't unpack your suitcase. Because some rooms don't let you check out. And you might just become the next guest, who never leaves. Story 2, the mirror that shows yesterday. Mirrors lie. Not in the way you think. Not by making you look thinner or hiding your flaws. They lie about time. They show you the present, or what you believe is the present. But what if the reflection isn't showing now? What if it's showing then? Or worse, what if it's showing what comes next? I learned this the hard way during a solo holiday in Brighton. I needed to get away. 6 months since the divorce. 6 months of sleeping in what used to be our bed, eating dinner alone, coming home to silence. My therapist suggested a change of scenery. Take yourself somewhere nice. Rediscover who you are without him. So I booked a week at the Marlowe Hotel. 4-star boutique place right on the seafront. The photos online look beautiful. Victorian architecture. Ocean views. Elegant rooms with period features and modern amenities. I checked in on a Sunday afternoon. The receptionist was friendly, efficient. Room 412. 4th floor. Beautiful sea view. I think you'll love it. She was right. The room was gorgeous. High ceilings. Ornate cornicing. A massive bay window overlooking the pier. And dominating the far wall, a floor-to-ceiling antique mirror. Gilt frame. Slightly tarnished. The kind of mirror that had probably hung in that room for 100 years. I remember standing in front of it that first day, checking my appearance after the long drive. I looked tired. Hair messy from the wind. But there was something else. Something I noticed but dismissed. My reflection blinked a half second after I did. Just a fraction of delay. Like watching a video with slightly distinct audio. Barely noticeable. Probably just my imagination. Exhaustion playing tricks. I unpacked. Took a shower. Changed into comfortable clothes. When I passed the mirror again, I glanced at my reflection. And this time I was certain. My reflection was wearing the clothes I'd had on before my shower. The travel outfit. The messy hair. I froze. Stared at the mirror. Looked down at what I was actually wearing, soft gray loungewear. Looked back up. The reflection showed me in jeans and a jacket. I blinked. The reflection caught up. Showed what I was really wearing. Gray loungewear. Damp hair. Jet lag. I told myself. You're just tired. Seeing things. But I wasn't tired. And I hadn't traveled far enough for jet lag. I approached the mirror slowly. Studied my reflection. It looked normal now. Moved when I moved. Copied my expressions perfectly. I waved. My reflection waved at exactly the same time. I turned away. Convinced myself I'd imagined it. Stress. Exhaustion. The emotional weight of being alone for the first time in 15 years. That night, I went to dinner at a restaurant on the pier. Fish and chips. Half a bottle of wine. Walked along the beach as the sun set. Felt for the first time in months something close to peace. When I returned to my room around 9 p.m., I caught my reflection in the mirror as I entered. I was wearing the dress I'd worn to dinner. Well, fitted. My hair was done. Makeup on. But in the reflection, I was in my gray loungewear again. Hair damp. Like I just stepped out of the shower. Like the mirror was showing me from 2 hours ago. I stood very still. Watched my reflection. It moved when I moved, but the clothes didn't change. The reflection showed the past. Showed me as I'd been earlier that evening. I grabbed my phone. Took a photo of the mirror. In the photo, my reflection was correct. Blue dress. Current moment. Normal. But when I looked directly at the mirror, it still showed me in gray loungewear. This isn't real, I whispered. This isn't happening. My reflection's lips moved, speaking the same words, but delayed. A fraction of a second behind. And then I noticed something else. In the reflection behind me, the room looked different. Brighter. The curtains were open. They were currently closed. The mirror wasn't just showing the past. It was showing a very specific moment in the past. I didn't sleep that night. I sat in the chair by the window, facing away from the mirror, watching the sea. Telling myself I'd check out in the morning. Request a different room. Or just leave entirely. But when morning came, the mirror was normal again. My reflection matched reality perfectly. Moved in sync. Showed the correct clothes, the correct time, the correct room. I convinced myself I'd been drunk. Overtired. Emotional. The mind plays tricks when you're vulnerable. So I stayed. And that was my first mistake. Because the mirror wasn't done showing me the past. Soon it would start showing me the future. And what I saw there would make me wish I'd never looked in a mirror at all. The delay got worse. By Tuesday, my third day at the hotel, the mirror was running a full minute behind. I'd brush my teeth and my reflection would still be standing in the doorway watching. I'd sit on the bed and my reflection would still be standing. Every action I took, the mirror copied exactly 60 seconds later. I tested it. Set a timer on my phone. Raised my hand at exactly 2 p.m. Watched the mirror. At 2:01 p.m., my reflection raised its hand. 60 seconds. Precise. Consistent. I should have left then. Should have checked out immediately. But morbid curiosity kept me there. And something else, a growing suspicion that this wasn't random. That the mirror was trying to show me something. Warn me about something. On Wednesday, the delay was 5 minutes. I'd leave the room for breakfast, and when I returned, the mirror would show me still eating downstairs. I could watch myself in the reflection, see what I'd done 5 minutes ago. See the past playing out like a recording. It was disturbing. Fascinating. Wrong. I called the front desk. Asked if there was something unusual about room 412. The receptionist laughed, a nervous laugh that suggested she'd heard this question before. Unusual how, miss? The mirror. Has anyone complained about the mirror? Pause. What seems to be the problem with the mirror? It shows things from the past. Like it's delayed. Another pause. Longer this time. Would you like us to send maintenance up? Can I just change rooms? I'm afraid we're fully booked this week. But I can have someone check the mirror if you'd like. I said yes. Maintenance never came. By Thursday, the delay was 1 hour. I woke up, brushed my hair, got dressed. Looked in the mirror and saw myself still asleep. Watched my past self wake up, stumble to the bathroom, go through the morning routine I'd completed an hour ago. It was like watching surveillance footage. Except the camera was a 100-year-old mirror, and I had no idea why this was happening. I started avoiding the mirror. Kept my eyes down when I moved through the room. Used the bathroom mirror instead. That one was normal, thank God. But I couldn't avoid the large mirror entirely. It dominated the room. Drew the eye. And part of me, the part that slows down to look at car crashes, couldn't stop checking it. Couldn't stop watching myself from the past. On Thursday evening, I made a terrible mistake. I've been out all day, trying to enjoy my holiday, trying to forget about the impossible mirror in my room. I returned around 8 p.m., exhausted, and glanced at the mirror out of habit. My reflection showed me from 6 hours ago. Morning. Getting dressed. But something was different. In the reflection, there was someone else in the room. A figure. Standing by the window. Watching past me get dressed. I hadn't seen anyone that morning. I'd been alone. But the mirror showed a man, tall, dark clothing, face obscured in shadow, standing perfectly still behind me while I changed clothes. I spun around. The room was empty. Just me. I looked back at the mirror. The figure was gone. Past me was alone again, oblivious, getting ready for the day. Had someone been in my room? Had the mirror recorded an intrusion I hadn't noticed? Or was it showing me something that hadn't actually happened? I checked the door. Still locked. Chain in place. No signs of forced entry. But the mirror had shown someone there. Someone watching. I grabbed my phone with shaking hands. Called the front desk. I think someone was in my room. This morning. I saw them in the, I need to see the security footage. From room 412. From this morning. The receptionist sounded concerned now. Someone was in your room? Did they take anything? I don't know. I didn't see them at the time. But the mirror. The mirror again, miss? I heard the skepticism in her voice. The unspoken suggestion that I was unstable. Seeing things. Making up stories about mirrors and intruders. Never mind, I said and hung up. I didn't sleep that night either. I sat facing the door, watching the mirror from the corner of my eye. Watching my past self from hours ago. Watching for the figure. It appeared again around 2 a.m. In the reflection, showing me from 8 hours earlier, the figure stood by my bed. Watching past me sleep. Just standing there. Not moving. Not touching. Just watching. I wanted to scream. But what would I scream at? The room was empty now. Whatever the mirror showed had happened hours ago. Or hadn't happened at all. I didn't know anymore. Friday morning, I woke to find the delay had jumped to 24 hours. The mirror showed me from yesterday. An entire day in the past. I watched myself wake up, move through the room, get ready. Watched the figure appear by the window. Watched it stand there watching past me. And I realized something horrifying. If the mirror showed 24 hours in the past, then yesterday when I'd been looking at the mirror, it had been showing me from the day before. Which meant the figure I'd seen yesterday wasn't from yesterday morning. It was from 2 days ago. And if the delay kept increasing, I grabbed my notebook. Started calculating. Writing down the timeline. Sunday, no delay. Monday, split-second delay. Tuesday, 1 minute. Wednesday, 5 minutes. Thursday, 1 hour. Friday, 24 hours. The delay was doubling. Growing exponentially. Which meant tomorrow, Saturday, the mirror would show me from 2 days ago. And Sunday, 4 days ago. And eventually, the mirror would show me the future. My hands shook as I wrote it out. Because if the delay kept increasing, it would eventually wrap around. Would show me moments I hadn't lived yet. Moments that were still to come. Would show me what was going to happen to me. I looked up at the mirror. At my reflection from yesterday. At the figure standing behind her. Watching. Waiting. And I realized it wasn't showing me the past. It was showing me a countdown. To something that was coming. Something I couldn't stop. Because it had already happened in the timeline the mirror was showing. I just hadn't experienced it yet. Saturday arrived and the math proved correct. The mirror showed me from exactly 48 hours ago. Thursday morning. I watched past me wake up, oblivious to what was coming. Watched her check the mirror, which at that point had been showing Wednesday. Watched her go about her day, not knowing that in 2 days, she'd be trapped in a room with a mirror that was rapidly approaching something impossible. But it was what happened on Sunday that broke me. I woke up and looked at the mirror by instinct, by habit, by the terrible compulsion that makes you look at things you know you shouldn't. The delay should have been 4 days, 96 hours. It should have shown me from Wednesday. But it didn't. It showed me from Monday. 5 days ago. The math had changed. The pattern had shifted. And in the reflection I saw myself checking in. Saw myself enter room 412 for the first time. Saw myself unpacking, standing in front of the mirror, noticing that first tiny delay. I was watching the beginning of the loop. But there was something new. Something I hadn't seen the first time. In the Monday reflection, the figure was already there. Standing in the corner. It had been there from the very beginning. I just hadn't noticed it. Hadn't seen it in real time. But the mirror remembered. The mirror showed everything. And as I watched, the figure moved. Stepped closer to past me. Reached out a hand, not touching, just hovering near my past self's shoulder. And past me shivered. I remembered that moment. Remembered feeling a sudden chill when I'd first entered the room. I'd blamed it on the air conditioning. But it hadn't been the air conditioning. It had been him. The mirror's image flickered. For the first time since this started, it glitched. The reflection stuttered like a corrupted video file. And when it stabilized, it wasn't showing Monday anymore. It was showing Tuesday. Tomorrow. The mirror had jumped forward. Skipped past the present. Started showing the future. I watched myself, future me, wake up in this bed. Watched her check the mirror with the same dread I felt now. Watched her see something that made her face go white with terror. And then the mirror showed her running. Grabbing her suitcase. Trying to leave. But the door wouldn't open. Future me pounded on it, screaming for help, and I could see, even though the mirror had no sound, that she was terrified. That something was in the room with her. Something she could see but I couldn't. The figure appeared behind her in the reflection. Fully visible now. A man, middle-aged, wearing old-fashioned clothing. Victorian maybe. His face was pale, sunken. Dead. And he was smiling. Future me turned. Saw him. Backed against the door. The figure approached slowly, deliberately, reaching out with those long, pale hands. The reflection went black. I stumbled away from the mirror, gasping. That was tomorrow. That was what was going to happen to me in less than 24 hours. I grabbed my phone. Called the front desk. I'm checking out. No. Today. I need to leave. Of course, miss. Checkout is at 11 a.m. It's currently 8:30, so you have. I'm leaving right now. I'll pack and be down in 10 minutes. I'm afraid there will be an early checkout fee. I don't care. I was shouting now. Charge me whatever you want. I just need to leave this room. I threw my clothes into my suitcase. Didn't bother folding. Didn't bother organizing. Just grabbed everything and shoved it in. I looked at the mirror one last time. It was showing me right now. The present. For the first time in days, my reflection matched my movements perfectly. And behind me the figure stood. Not in the past. Not in the future. No. I could see him in the mirror. Standing right behind me. Close enough that I should feel his breath. Close enough that if I turned around, I'd be face to face with him. But I didn't turn around. Because some part of me knew with absolute certainty, that if I turned around, if I acknowledged him outside of the mirror's reflection, something terrible would happen. The mirror was a barrier. As long as I only saw him in the reflection, I was safe. But the moment I tried to look at him directly, I walked backward toward the door, keeping my eyes on the mirror, watching him watch me. He didn't move, just stood there, smiling that terrible smile. My hand found the door handle, turned it, locked. I tried again, pulled harder. The door wouldn't open, just like in the vision of tomorrow, just like I'd known it wouldn't. In the mirror, the figure's smile widened, and he spoke. I couldn't hear him, there was no sound, but I could read his lips in the reflection. You looked. I realized my mistake too late. I was looking at him. In the mirror. That counted. That was enough. The mirror rippled like water. The surface became liquid and the figure stepped through. Not stepped out. Stepped through. Into the mirror from the inside. And suddenly I understood. The mirror wasn't showing the past or the future. It was showing another reality. Another version of the room. And in that version he had always been there. Trapped. Waiting for someone to look. To acknowledge. To see. And I had seen him. Had watched him for days in the reflection. Had given him attention. Power. Reality. And now he was coming through. The mirror's surface bulged. His hands pressed through first, pale, dead, reaching. Then his face. Then his body. Pushing through the glass like it was nothing. Like it was a door that had been locked for 100 years and I just opened it. I screamed. Grabbed my suitcase. Used it like a battering ram against the door. The wood splintered. The lock broke. I fell into the hallway as the door gave way. Behind me I heard footsteps. Slow. Heavy. Following. I ran. Didn't look back. Didn't stop. Down the stairs, Didn't trust the elevator, through the lobby, past the startled receptionist into the street. I got in my car and drove. Didn't stop for hours. When I finally pulled over at a service station 50 miles away, I looked in the rearview mirror. He was in the back seat. Not really there, but there in the reflection, sitting quietly, watching me with those dead eyes. And I understood then. He hadn't come through the mirror. He'd come through into the reflections, into every mirror, every reflective surface. He existed in the reflected world now, and I'd given him that power by looking, by seeing. I couldn't escape him, because everywhere I went there were mirrors, windows, phone screens. Any surface that could show my reflection could show him too. Watching, waiting, following. That was 6 months ago. I don't use mirrors anymore. I've covered every reflective surface in my flat. I shower in the dark. I don't look at my phone screen unless absolutely necessary. But sometimes, in the corner of my eye, I catch a reflection in a window, a shop display, a puddle. And he's always there, standing behind me, smiling, waiting for the day I forget. The day I let my guard down and look directly into a mirror without thinking. Because when that happens, he'll step through. And this time there won't be a door to break down. There won't be anywhere to run. I've checked out of the Marlowe Hotel, but I never really left room 412. Because room 412 left with me. In every reflection, in every mirror. And he's still there, still watching, still waiting. If you ever stay in a hotel and notice your reflection is delayed, even by a split second, check out immediately. Don't wait to see what it shows you. Don't look for patterns. Don't watch yourself in the past. And whatever you do, don't look long enough to see what's watching you back. Because some mirrors don't just reflect. They remember. And they never ever let you leave. I live differently now. My bathroom has no mirrors. I brush my teeth by feel. I style my hair by memory. When I need to see myself, for job interviews, for rare social occasions, I use my phone camera. Point it at myself, take a photo, check the image quickly, then delete it. Never video. Never reflections. Just static images that can't show anything moving behind me. My friends think I've developed some kind of body dysmorphia. That the divorce broke something in me. They're not entirely wrong. Something did break. But it wasn't my self-image. It was the barrier between our world and the reflected one. I've researched it obsessively. Found stories online, so many stories, of people who've encountered mirrors that don't behave correctly. Mirrors that show the past. Mirrors that show the future. Mirrors that show rooms that don't exist. Mirrors that show you, but different. Wrong. Changed. Most of those people disappeared. Their forum posts end abruptly. Their social media goes silent. And if you dig deeper, you'll find missing person reports. Unexplained disappearances. People who were there one day and gone the next. I think they looked too long. I think they saw what I saw. And I think they didn't run fast enough. The Marlowe Hotel still operates. Still rents room 412. I've checked. The online reviews are mixed. Most people love it. Beautiful room. Amazing view. So much character. But buried in the 5-star reviews, if you know what to look for, you'll find them. The warnings disguised as minor complaints. Lovely room, but the mirror was oddly positioned. Felt like it was watching me. Great stay, except I kept catching movement in the mirror that didn't match my own. Probably just tired. Beautiful Victorian mirror, but I swear I saw someone standing behind me in the reflection. Hotel says the room has a history but wouldn't elaborate. For stars because it freaked me out a bit. They don't know how lucky they are. They noticed. They felt uncomfortable. But they didn't watch. Didn't study the mirror long enough for it to show them the truth. Didn't give him enough attention to make him real. I've tried to warn the hotel. Called them anonymously. Told them about room 412. About the mirror. About what happens if you look too long. They thanked me for my feedback. Said they'd look into it. Nothing changed. Because how do you explain it? How do you tell people that a mirror in your hotel is a doorway to somewhere else? That there's something trapped in the reflection that's trying to get out? That it feeds on attention, on observation, on the simple human instinct to check your appearance? You can't. You sound insane. I know. I've tried. So room 412 stays in service. The mirror stays on the wall. And every few months someone new checks in. Someone alone. Someone vulnerable. Someone who'll spend enough time in that room in front of that mirror to notice the delay. And once you notice, you can't stop looking. That's how it gets you. I still see him. Every day. In car windows as I drive past. In the screen of my laptop if I forget to turn it off before walking past. In the glass door of the corner shop. In the chrome of the kettle if I'm not careful. Always standing behind me. Always watching. Always patient. He's waiting for me to forget. To get comfortable. To let down my guard and look into a proper mirror. Not a photo, not a screen, but a real reflective surface. For more than a second. Because that's all he needs. 1 second of full acknowledgement. One moment where I look directly at him, not away, not fleeing, but really look. And then he'll step through. Finish what he started. Take what he's owed. I don't know who he was. Don't know how long he's been trapped in that mirror. Don't know how many people he's taken before me. But I know he's not giving up. Know he'll follow me for the rest of my life. Know that eventually, when I'm old or sick or just tired of running, I'll slip up. And he'll be there. The only question is when. So I live carefully. Deliberately. Always aware of reflective surfaces. Always conscious of what might be watching from the other side. It's not much of a life. But it's better than the alternative. Better than being trapped in the mirror like he is. Like I almost was. Like the next guest in room 412 might be if they're not careful. If you ever book a hotel room and there's a large antique mirror on the wall, the kind that looks like it's been there for 100 years, do yourself a favor. Cover it. Turn it around. Request a different room. Don't study your reflection. Don't check if it moves correctly. Don't watch for delays or inconsistencies. Because once you start looking, you can't stop. And once the mirror knows you're watching, it shows you everything. Past, present, future. And what's watching you back. I learned that the hard way in room 412. I hope you never have to. Story 3, the connecting door that won't stay locked. There are doors that are meant to stay locked. Fire exits. Emergency doors. Storage rooms. And in hotels, connecting doors, those interior doors between adjacent rooms designed for families traveling together. 2 separate spaces that can become one with the turn of a deadbolt. But what happens when both sides are locked, and the door opens anyway? What happens when the room on the other side isn't supposed to exist? And what happens when something in that impossible room wants to come through? My husband and I learned the answer during what was supposed to be a romantic anniversary weekend. 5 years married. We'd been through a rough patch. Work stress, money problems, the usual things that strain a relationship. So we decided to reconnect. Booked a nice hotel in the Lake District. No phones. No laptops. Just us, good food, long walks, and quiet evenings. The Riverside Hotel was perfect. 4-star. Historic building. Beautiful views of Windermere. We checked in Friday evening, both exhausted from the drive but excited for the weekend ahead. Room 318, the receptionist said, handing us 2 key cards. 3rd floor. Beautiful lake view. Enjoy your stay. The room was lovely. King bed. Sitting area. Small balcony overlooking the water. Everything we needed for a relaxing weekend. Except for one thing. On the far wall opposite the bed was a connecting door. Wooden. Painted the same cream color as the walls but clearly original to the building. A brass deadbolt on our side. Locked. And presumably another deadbolt on the other side in the adjacent room. My husband James noticed it first. Wonder who's next door. Hopefully no one loud, I said. I want to actually sleep this weekend. We unpacked, changed, went down to dinner. The hotel restaurant was excellent. Local lamb, good wine, candlelight. We held hands across the table like we hadn't done in months. Remembered why we'd fallen in love in the first place. It was nearly 11 p.m. when we returned to the room. That's when we heard it. A knock. 3 soft raps. Coming from the connecting door. James and I froze. Looked at each other. Another knock. Same rhythm. Tap tap tap. Hello? James called out. Can we help you? Silence. No response from the other side. Maybe they got the wrong room, I suggested. Thought this was their door to the hallway. James approached the connecting door. Put his ear against it. Hello. You've got the wrong door. The hallway exit is on your other side. No response. Just silence. We waited a few minutes. Nothing. Whoever had knocked must have realized their mistake and left. We got ready for bed. James fell asleep almost immediately, he always does, but I lay awake staring at the ceiling. The room was quiet except for his soft snoring and the faint sound of wind against the window. And then I heard it. From the connecting door. The deadbolt sliding open. Slow. Deliberate. Metal scraping against metal. I sat up, heart pounding. Stared at the door in the darkness. The deadbolt on our side was still locked. I could see it clearly in the moonlight from the window. But the sound had definitely come from our side of the door. The metallic click of a bolt sliding out of its housing. James? I whispered, shaking his shoulder. James, wake up. He mumbled. Rolled over. Didn't wake. James? Louder now. Urgent. He jolted awake. What? What's wrong? The door. The connecting door. I heard the lock opening. He blinked sleep from his eyes. Looked at the door. It's still locked. See? The deadbolt's engaged. I know what I heard. You were half asleep. Old buildings make weird noises. Pipes. Radiators. It's fine. He kissed my forehead. Go to sleep. We've got a big hike tomorrow. He was asleep again in minutes. But I stayed awake, watching the door, listening. At 3:17 a.m., the handle turned. I saw it clearly. The brass handle rotating slowly downward like someone on the other side was testing it, seeing if it would open. It stopped, released, returned to its original position, then tried again, slower this time. More pressure. The deadbolt held. The door stayed closed. But something, was trying to get in. If you're already feeling uneasy, drop in the comments. Because what happened next made me wish we'd never booked that room. I didn't sleep the rest of the night. Just watched that door, waiting for the handle to turn again. It didn't. When morning came, James found me sitting up in bed, staring. Did you sleep at all? He asked, concerned. The handle turned. Multiple times. Someone tried to open the door. He sighed. The kind of sigh that says he thinks I'm being paranoid. I'll call the front desk. We can ask about the room next door. He called. Put it on speaker so I could hear. Good morning, this is room 318. We're wondering if someone's staying in the room next to ours? The connecting room? The receptionist paused. We heard typing. Room 318. The connecting room would be 320. Let me check. More typing. Longer pause. Sir, there is no room 320. What do you mean? James asked. Room 318 has a connecting door, yes, but it's a legacy feature from when the building had a different layout. The space beyond that door was converted into a mechanical room during our 2015 renovation. Heating, electrical, storage. There's no guest room on the other side. James looked at me. I looked at the door. So, there's no way someone could be in there? He asked. No, sir. It's not accessible to guests. In fact, it's not accessible at all without going through the maintenance areas in the basement. Is there a problem? No, James said quickly. Just curious. Thank you. He hung up. Tried to smile reassuringly. See? No one next door. Probably just the building settling. The mechanical systems making noise. Nothing to worry about. I wanted to believe him. Wanted to accept the logical explanation. But logic didn't explain the handle turning. Didn't explain the knocking. Didn't explain the feeling, the absolute certainty, that someone was on the other side of that door. Wanting to come through. We went out for the day. Tried to enjoy our anniversary. Hiked around the lake. Had lunch in a village pub. Pretended everything was fine. But I couldn't stop thinking about the door. About what the receptionist had said. A mechanical room. Not accessible to guests. No way for anyone to be in there. And yet, when we returned to the room that evening, I noticed something I'd missed before. Under the connecting door there was a gap. Maybe an inch. Just enough to see a sliver of the space beyond. I knelt down. Pressed my face close to the floor. Looked under. Darkness. Complete darkness. Not the darkness of a room with the lights off. The darkness of a space with no light source at all. No windows. No cracks. Just black. And as I stared into that darkness, I felt it. Someone staring back. I jerked back from the door so fast I hit my head on the bed frame. Are you okay? James rushed over. What happened? There's someone in there. In the mechanical room. I felt, someone looking back at me. He gave me that look again. The one that said he was worried about me. About my mental state. About whether the stress of the past year had finally broken something in me. There's no one in there, he said gently. It's a mechanical room. Probably just saw the reflection of the hallway light or something. Look for yourself then, I challenged. He sighed. Knelt down. Put his face near the gap under the door. I watched his expression change. Watched the skepticism fade. Watched something else replace it. Fear. He stood up quickly. Brushed off his knees. Tried to act casual, but I saw his hands shaking. What did you see? I asked. Nothing. Darkness. Like you said. No big deal. James. What did you see? He hesitated. For a second. I thought I saw something move. But it was probably just my eyes adjusting to the dark. Seeing shapes that aren't there. You know how the brain does that. We didn't talk about it the rest of the evening. Ordered room service instead of going out. Tried to watch a film on the TV. Both of us pretending we weren't constantly glancing at the connecting door. At 11:30 p.m. we got ready for bed. James checked the deadbolt 3 times. Made sure it was fully engaged. Even pushed a chair against the door for extra security. There, he said. Even if someone tried to open it, which they won't, they couldn't get through. I wanted to believe him. Wanted to feel safe. But as I lay in bed next to him, staring at that door in the darkness, I knew something was going to happen tonight. The knocking started at midnight. Exactly midnight. I'd been watching the clock. Tap, tap, tap. Same rhythm as before. 3 soft knocks. Polite. Patient. James sat up. Okay. That's definitely knocking. Tap, tap, tap. Hello? James called out. There's no one supposed to be in there. This is a mechanical room. You need to leave. Silence. Then, faintly from the other side of the door. Footsteps. Moving away from the door. Fading into the distance. See? James said, relief in his voice. Probably maintenance working late. They heard us and left. Mystery solved. But I knew better. Because those footsteps had faded too far. Too long. Like the space beyond the door was much larger than a mechanical room should be. 5 minutes later, the handle started turning again. But different this time. More aggressive. Rattling. Like someone was yanking on it, trying to force it open. The chair we'd propped against the door scraped against the floor. Moved an inch. What the hell? James jumped out of bed. Grabbed the chair. Pushed it back firmly against the door. The handle stopped moving. Everything went still. We waited. Listening. Hearts pounding. Then came a sound that made my blood run cold. Scratching. Fingernails on wood. Slow. Deliberate. From the bottom of the door, dragging upward. Someone on the other side was running their fingers along the door. Feeling it. Mapping it. Looking for a way through. That's it. We're leaving. James grabbed his phone. Started gathering our belongings. We'll get a different room. This is insane. But before we could pack, the scratching stopped. And we heard a voice. Muffled. Distorted. Coming from the other side of the door. Help me. James froze. Did you hear that? I nodded. Unable to speak. Please, help me, trapped. It was a woman's voice. Weak. Desperate. Crying. James approached the door. Hello? Are you okay? How did you get in there? Dark, so dark, can't find the door, please help. James looked at me. Someone's trapped in there. We need to call reception. Get someone to open it from the other side. No, I said. Don't. Something's not right. Someone needs help. He grabbed his phone. Called the front desk. This is room 318. There's someone trapped in the mechanical room behind our connecting door. A woman. She's calling for help. You need to send someone immediately. The receptionist sounded confused. Sir, there's no way anyone could be in there. That room is sealed. It's only accessible through. Well, someone is in there. She's crying. She needs help. I'll send security up right away. He hung up. Turned back to the door. Hello? Can you hear me? Security is coming. They'll get you out. The voice changed. Became clearer. Closer to the door. Thank you. Please, it's so cold. Been here so long. How long have you been in there? James asked. Don't remember. Days maybe, or weeks, or... The voice trailed off. Became a sob. Heartbreaking. Desperate. James reached for the deadbolt. James, don't. I grabbed his arm. Something's wrong. That voice, it doesn't sound right. She needs help. It's not real. It's... A knock on our main door interrupted us. Security. James ran to answer it. 2 security guards entered. Young men, both looking skeptical. You reported someone trapped in the mechanical room? One asked. Yes. She's been calling for help. Listen. We all went quiet. Listening. Silence. Complete silence from the other side of the door. Hello? James called out. Are you still there? We've got help. Nothing. The security guard approached the connecting door. Knocked on it. Hello? This is hotel security. If someone's in there, please respond. Silence. We can't hear anything, sir, the guard said. Are you sure you heard someone? We both heard her. James insisted. She was crying. Asking for help. The guards exchanged glances. The look that said they'd dealt with this before. Guess hearing things. Imagining problems. I'll radio maintenance. One said, "Have them check the mechanical room from the access point downstairs. But I can assure you no one should be able to get in there. It's sealed." They left, promising to report back. James paced the room, frustrated, convinced someone needed help and we were being ignored. But I knew. Deep in my bones, I knew. That voice wasn't asking for help. It was luring us, trying to get us to open the door. 15 minutes later, security called back. "We've checked the mechanical room, sir. It's empty. No one in there. No signs of entry. No way anyone could have been inside." "But we heard her," James protested. "Old buildings make strange sounds. Pipes. When? Echoes from other rooms. I assure you there's no one in there. They wouldn't send anyone else. Wouldn't investigate further." The case was closed. James sat on the bed, defeated. "I heard her. You heard her. We both did." "I know," I said quietly. "But I don't think it was a person." He looked at me, wanting to argue, wanting to deny, but unable to, because we both knew something was wrong with that room. Something that couldn't be explained by pipes or wind or echoes. Comment if you would have opened that door, and if you would have run. Because what we decided next determined whether we'd survive the night. We decided to stay. Stupidest decision of our lives. But it was 1 a.m. We were exhausted. Every other room was booked. And James convinced himself, convinced both of us, that it was just sounds. Just old building noises. Nothing supernatural. Nothing dangerous. We should have slept in the car. Because at 3 a.m. the deadbolt on our side of the door slid open. By itself. We both saw it. Both watched in horror as the metal bolt slowly, smoothly, withdrew into the unlocked position. Without anyone touching it. The door was still closed. The chair still braced against it. But the lock was open. And from the other side we heard the second deadbolt, the one in the mechanical room, slide open too. The door began to open. The door opened an inch, pushing against the chair. Moving it slowly across the floor despite James's weight pressed against it. "Help me," James shouted. "Push the chair." I threw myself against it, both of us straining, fighting against whatever was on the other side. The door was strong, relentless, pushing with inhuman force. Through the crack I could see into the space beyond. It wasn't a mechanical room. It was another hotel room, identical to ours. Same layout, same furniture, same cream walls, but wrong, faded, like a photograph left too long in the sun. The colors were washed out. The furniture looked decades old, and the air that came through the crack was cold, ice cold, carrying the smell of decay and abandonment. And standing in the middle of that impossible room was the woman. She wore a hotel uniform, maid's outfit from maybe the 1960s. Her hair was styled in an old-fashioned way. Her makeup was perfect, but her skin was wrong, too pale, too gray. And her eyes were completely black. No whites, no iris, just solid black orbs that reflected nothing. She smiled when she saw me looking. A wide, unnatural smile. "Let me in." The voice came from her, but her lips didn't move. "So cold, so alone, let me in." "James, look." I screamed. But when he looked through the crack he saw something different. "There's nothing there," he said. "It's just an empty room. Storage or..." "It's not empty. She's right there. Standing in the middle of the..." The door pushed harder. The chair scraped another foot across the floor. The woman stepped closer. Her movements were jerky. Wrong. Like a film skipping frames. One moment she was in the middle of the room. The next she was at the door. Then she was reaching through the crack. Her hand was skeletal. Gray skin stretched tight over bones. Fingernails yellow and cracked. She reached for me. Fingers grasping. Close enough that I could smell her, old perfume mixed with rot. I screamed. Let go of the chair. Stumbled backward. Without my help, James couldn't hold it. The door pushed open another foot. The woman stepped into the gap. Half in her room. Half in ours. Impossible. She shouldn't fit. But she was folding herself through. Contorting. Bones bending in ways bones shouldn't bend. "Get out!" James roared. He grabbed the lamp from the bedside table. Threw it at her. It passed right through her. Shattered against the wall of the other room. She wasn't solid. Wasn't really there. But she was getting more real with every second. More present. More solid. "Just want to come through?" She whispered. "Been so long. Trapped in that room. Need to leave. Need a way out." "Why us?" I choked out. "Why this door?" She tilted her head. The movement was wrong. Too far. Like her neck was broken. Because you heard me, because you looked, because you opened the door? We didn't open it. James shouted. You unlocked it? In your minds, you wondered what was there? You looked under the door? You acknowledged me? She smiled wider. Too wide. Her mouth opening too far. Showing teeth that were black and rotting. And now, I can cross. She pushed through the gap. Fully in our room now. The mechanical room behind her flickered. For a moment it was there, the faded copy of our room. Then it wasn't. Just darkness. Just void. Just nothing. She'd used it as a bridge. A way station between wherever she'd been trapped and our world. And now she was here. James grabbed my hand. Run. We bolted for the main door. Threw it open. Ran into the hallway. Behind us we heard her footsteps. Slow. Deliberate. Following. We pounded on doors. Screaming for help. But it was 3 a.m. No one answered. Or if they did, they looked through the peepholes, saw us panicking, and decided to stay locked inside. We reached the stairs. Started descending. Taking them 2 at a time. The woman appeared at the top. Looked down at us. Smiled. And then she was at the bottom. Waiting. Blocking our path. She'd teleported. Or moved so fast we hadn't seen. Or space had folded for her because she wasn't bound by the same rules we were. You can't leave, she said. You opened the door, you have to let me stay. Stay where? I gasped. In your room, in your space. I need a place to exist, and you gave it to me, by opening the door, by letting me through. James grabbed me. Pulled me back up the stairs. We ran down a different hallway. Looking for anyone. Anything. Help. We found a housekeeping cart. Supplies. Cleaning chemicals. James grabbed a bottle. Read the label. Salt water. For cleaning. He turned to face the woman who had appeared at the end of the hallway, walking slowly toward us. Salt, he said. It's supposed to work against ghosts, right? Spirits. That's folk tales, I said. We don't even know if... He threw the bottle. It smashed at her feet. Salt water splashed across her legs. She screamed. The sound was horrible. Inhuman. Like metal scraping against metal mixed with an animal's dying cry. Her legs dissolved where the salt water touched. Became smoke. Became nothing. But she kept coming. Crawling now. Pulling herself forward with her arms. Still smiling. Still reaching. Salt can't stop me. Nothing can. I'm already here. Already real. Because you let me in. We ran again. Back to our room. Stupid, we know, but we needed our phones, our wallets, our car keys. The connecting door was wide open. The other room visible beyond. But it was changing. Shifting. Sometimes it was the faded hotel room. Sometimes it was somewhere else. An old house. A hospital. A basement. Different locations flickering like channels on a TV. She's not from one place, I realized. She's been trapped between places. Between rooms. Between realities. And she's been using connecting doors. Waiting for someone to open them. To give her a way through. James grabbed our belongings. We're leaving. No. We'll drive straight home. Never come back. But as we turned to leave, she was in the doorway. Blocking our exit. Different now. More solid. More real. Fed by our fear. Strengthened by our acknowledgement. You can leave, she said. But I'm coming with you. In your minds, in your memories, because you saw me, because you know I exist. I can follow you anywhere now. No, I said. No, you can't. Because we're going to forget. We're going to pretend this never happened. We're going to deny you. Refuse to acknowledge you. Starve you of the belief that makes you real. Her smile faltered. You can't forget. You'll always remember, always know, always fear. Watch us, James said. We closed our eyes, held hands, and walked forward, toward where she was, refusing to see her, refusing to acknowledge her presence. I felt cold as we passed through her, felt her trying to grab us, felt her screaming silently as we denied her existence. And then we were past, in the hallway, running for the stairs. We didn't look back, didn't acknowledge the sounds of her following, didn't respond to the voice calling our names. We got in our car and drove, through the night, didn't stop until we were home, 3 hours away. When we finally looked at each other in the safety of our own house, James spoke first. Did that really happen? I hesitated, because I knew what the right answer was, knew what would keep us safe. No, I lied. It was a shared nightmare. Carbon monoxide in the room, maybe, made us both hallucinate. It wasn't real. Right, he agreed. Not real. Just stress and bad air and too much wine at dinner. We never spoke of it again. Never acknowledged what we'd seen. Never researched it. Never tried to understand it. Because that would make it real. And we couldn't let it be real. If you're still watching, if you made it this far, drop a skull in the comments. Because this final part is where we learn the truth about what follows you when you open doors you shouldn't. But sometimes late at night I hear knocking. 3 soft taps. Tap, tap, tap. And I wonder if she's still looking. Still searching for another door. Another room. Another couple stupid enough to listen to a voice calling for help from the other side. The Riverside Hotel still operates. Still has connecting doors in some rooms. Still books room 318. I've checked. And according to reviews, guests occasionally complain about knocking from the connecting door. About voices. About the door unlocking by itself. The hotel always responds the same way. The connecting room is a mechanical space. Not accessible to guests. Probably just building sounds. They know. They have to know. But what can they do? Acknowledge that some doors lead to places they shouldn't? That some rooms exist between realities? That some guests never really check out because they're trapped in the spaces between? They can't. So they don't. They just keep booking rooms. Keep smiling. Keep pretending. Just like we do. Because the alternative, accepting that it was real, means accepting that she might still be looking for us. Might still be trying to come through. And we can't live with that. So we forget. Deny. Refuse. And most days it works. But sometimes I wake up at 3 a.m. and James is standing at our bedroom door. Staring at it. Like he's listening to something on the other side. And I don't ask what he hears. Don't acknowledge it. Don't look. Because if we both admit we still hear her, if we both acknowledge she followed us home, then she'll know. And she'll come through. Through any door. Any barrier. Any wall. Because we let her in once. And that's all it takes. One open door. One acknowledged presence. One moment of believing. And she's real. We sold our house 6 months later. Told everyone it was for practical reasons. Wanted to downsize. Wanted a change. Wanted a fresh start after the rough year we'd had. We didn't tell them about the knocking. About how every house we viewed, every apartment we toured, James would compulsively check for connecting doors. Adjoining walls. Spaces that seemed too thin. We found a place eventually. A converted warehouse. Open plan. No interior doors except for the bathroom. No walls that could hide spaces between. No connecting doors. We thought we'd be safe there. For a while we were. But you can't escape something that lives in the space between. Something that exists in the gaps. The liminal places. The thresholds and boundaries that separate one space from another. She's still there. Still searching. Still trying to come through. We hear her sometimes. Not knocking anymore. But other sounds. Scratching. Breathing. The sound of footsteps pacing back and forth behind walls that should be solid. We don't acknowledge it. Don't discuss it. Don't react. Because the moment we do, she wins. She becomes real again. She gets her doorway. And we can't let that happen. James started seeing a therapist. For stress and anxiety. He comes home with exercises. Breathing techniques. Mindfulness practices. Ways to cope with intrusive thoughts. He doesn't tell the therapist what he's really dealing with. Can't. Because how do you explain that you're being haunted by something you accidentally let in through a hotel connecting door? I cope differently. I research. Late at night when James is asleep, I scroll through forums, Reddit threads, blog posts, looking for others who've experienced similar things. And I find them. Dozens of stories. Hundreds maybe. All following the same pattern. Hotel room. Connecting door. Knocking. Voice asking for help. Door opening. Something coming through. Some people ran fast enough. Some didn't. The ones who didn't, their stories end abruptly. Their forum accounts go silent. Their social media stops updating. And if you dig deeper, if you search their names, you find missing person reports. Unsolved disappearances. People who checked into hotels and never checked out. I think about them sometimes. Wonder if they opened their doors all the way. Wonder if they let her, or things like her, fully into their world. Wonder if they're trapped now in those between spaces. Those impossible rooms that exist behind connecting doors. I think about warning people. About posting online. About telling others to never, ever respond to knocking from a connecting door. But who would believe me? And would warning people make it worse? Would acknowledging it publicly give it more power? More reality? So I stay silent. Keep our secret. Pretend it never happened. And most days I almost believe it. But tonight, as I'm telling you this story, I heard it again. 3 soft knocks. Not from our walls. From my laptop speakers. From the phone in my pocket. From the TV in the other room. Tap, tap, tap. She's found new doors. Digital ones. Electronic ones. Anywhere there's a connection. A signal. A bridge between one space and another. And she's knocking. Asking to come through. Waiting for someone, anyone, to acknowledge her. To believe. To open. I'm not going to answer. I'm going to finish this story. Close my laptop. Turn off my phone. Disconnect. Deny. But you've listened to this story. You've imagined the door. Pictured the room beyond. Visualized her standing there. Waiting. And now she knows about you too. So tonight, if you hear knocking, if you hear a voice asking for help, if you see a door in your home that you don't remember being there, don't answer. Don't acknowledge. Don't open. Because some doors are meant to stay locked. Some spaces are meant to stay separate. And some voices asking for help aren't asking at all. They're demanding. They're claiming. They're taking. And once you let them in, once you open that door, you can never fully close it again. James just walked into the room. He's staring at the wall. The one we thought was solid. The one we paid extra to ensure had no gaps. No spaces between. Do you hear that? He's asking. It sounds like knocking. I don't answer. Don't acknowledge. Don't look. Because if I do, if we both admit we hear it, then she's found us again. And this time there's no hotel to check out of. No different room to request. No escape. Just us. And the doors we accidentally opened. And the thing that's been following us ever since. Thank you for listening to these 3 hotel horror stories. If you enjoyed them, make sure to subscribe to the Untold Dark Stories for more true horror every 2 days. Hit that like button, leave a comment telling us which story scared you most, and turn on notifications so you never miss a terrifying tale. And if you're staying in a hotel tonight, check your connecting door. Make sure it's locked. Make sure it stays locked. And whatever you do, don't answer the knocking. Because some guests never really check out. Good night. And lock your doors. 3 rooms. 3 horrors. 3 warnings. Room 237, where guests check in but never check out. Where suitcases appear and identities disappear. Where the trapped souls of decades past wait for the next victim to join their collection. Room 412, where mirrors don't show the present but the past and future. Where reflections become prisons. Where something watches from the other side of the glass, waiting for you to look too long. Room 318, where connecting doors lead to impossible spaces. Where voices call for help from rooms that don't exist. Where opening the wrong door lets something through that will follow you home. These were true hotel room horror stories. Real experiences from real travelers who thought a locked door meant safety. They learned otherwise. Hotels promise security, rest, anonymity. But some hotels remember their guests. Some rooms hold on to them. Some doors should never be opened. If these stories kept you up at night, subscribe to the Untold Dark Stories. We bring you true horror every 2 days. Real accounts. Real fear. Real warnings. Comment which story terrified you most. The guest who never checked out, the mirror that shows yesterday for the connecting door. Share this video to warn your friends. Because the next hotel stay could be theirs. And they should know what to watch for. Next time we'll explore a different kind of horror. A different kind of warning. A different reason to check your doors before you sleep. Until then, travel safely. Check your rooms carefully. And remember, some hotels don't just want your money. They want you. Stay in the dark.